She played the fiddle in an Irish band, but she fell in love with an Englishman. Kissed her on the neck and then I took her by the hands. And baby, I just wanna dance. I met her on Grafton Street.
Okay, we're going to do part 1, chapter 5 of Trash now. Part 1, chapter 5 deals largely with the searching of the dump site by the police and all the people that are paid to do it. So we get to see, I suppose, the comparison between the high level police and their shiny shoes and not wanting to get dirty, and the trash workers who are willing to do whatever they can for a day's pay. The chapter begins with a description or inferences to what sort of characters we've got. And we see at the beginning of chapter 5 here where Gardo describes Raph as a forgetful, and when we see a clue here that Gardo's in charge when he's the one that says no, that they needed to wait before they could run off to the train station. We also see Gardo describe Raphael here, and it's very positive because obviously they're very, very close. There's a little bit of reference here to about the police being mean and being a negative character in the book, and we get to see more and more of that as the book goes through. These boys have learnt very early that bad things happen to dump site kids, particularly at the hands of the police. So we'll flick through it really quickly. It's a nice description of Rat as being as grey as Trash. I like that, sort of comparing him to Trash, and that's sort of how the police see the kids, and there's lots of reference that Mulligan makes to that. It's interesting that we do see the comparison in power between the police being really powerful and not, walking on the trash and not actually doing anything and getting angry that they're not finding it, and the powerless, and that is the dump site kids. But the last line of this little section here in yellow, it says, "It was strange to think that there were just 3 boys in the world who knew exactly where it was," and this is an indication of actually who has the power in the situation, because it is the boys who have the answers and the knowledge about the bag, and therefore are in, I suppose, charge, if you want to look at it that way. Okay, little bit of reference here about them getting paid, which is good because they did doubt whether they're getting paid, but they still doubt whether they would get paid the reward. The last little bit here is the conversation between the auntie and her real fear of the police, and the fact that if they come and tear the house down, that she'll have to move again, and indicates somewhere that it's happened before, that their house has been destroyed and they've had to pack up and build up again. This is the first truth that the boys tell. Even though they're our heroes, they are very they don't tell the truth very often. They've lied to the police and they've lied to Auntie in the past. And this is when they tell the Auntie that there is nothing in the house, so she shouldn't be any danger. And it's their first real effort to be honest. The Auntie is there trying to convince the boys to give themselves in, and of course they won't be part of it because they don't trust the police and they doubt whether they'll get the money even if they give it over to the police. And then even if the police do get it, they also doubt whether they'll be able to keep it because of the situation that they're in may actually result in the money being stolen from them. I do like this line. I think this line up here when we're talking about, this is when Auntie talks about the police. Oh, what's my spelling? And she says everyone knows what they would do. It indicates that the corruption and I suppose violence even by the police is something that's not new. It's something that's been around. Auntie's obviously well aware of it and she's very fearful of it. There is a little line there about characterisation, where it tells that Raph needs to be led, and Gatto needs to lead him. Again, more evidence of Gatto being the leader and Raph being the follower. The last, this little bit here, this yellow says that, even though they're friends, that Gatto would be quite happy for Raph to be the hero, and then run all those risks that might take if he hands in the money, about him being beaten and stuff. So they're quite pragmatic and realistic about the world that they live in, and even though Gatto and Raph are friends, the relationship between Rat and Gatto is clearly not as strong as it is between Gatto and Raph. So that's the end of chapter 5. I'm going to pause that there, and then we'll get on to chapter 6 in just a second.
Side of the bar, she shared a cigarette with me while her brother played.
Okay, chapter 6. We've got Gatto who... Raphael speaking this time, and you can see reference to Gatto being in charge, because Gatto, Raph says that Gatto lets them go. So we get that indication of that relationship between the two boys. The boys are off to Central, which is the train station, to try and find what's in the locker that belongs to the key that Rat identified. We get to see the boys leave the home, and that the train comes very, very close to the Bahala, where they live. There's a lot of references down here to the boys and their different roles. We get to see Rat's, I suppose, forthrightness, or his take charge ability, but also his abilities and his strength of character. When he tells the others, even though Gatto's normally in charge, he tells them that he'll do the lockup, because he's the one that's got experience living in at Central Train Station, so he will be the one that's going to be in charge there. And the boys actually, Gatto and Raph, both respect that and give that and let Rat do that, although Gatto's a little bit worried about that. And we see that Gatto keeps Raph close to him, again, that very protective nature that he has, and that very caring nature he has for Raph. Even though they're the same age, he treats him very much like a little brother rather than an equal. There's lots of evidence towards, or lots of parts or references to the corruption that the boys live in, the unjust life that they live, and we see that the boys need to pay money to the other train station boys so that they don't get beat up, and that if they're caught by the porters as homeless sort of kids, they will be beaten. And so that is Andy Mulligan again demonstrating that these boys live in a very powerless situation, and anyone who's an adult or in a position of responsibility is clearly more powerful than they. And again, there's another reference down here, is that they often seem to be invisible, and that's another indication of how powerless they are. Over here on the purple, we get a first really clear indication, well, not the first indication, but the clearest indication of the level of corruption and danger that the boys place themselves in. The notion that young people often are taken by the police, and they are beaten, or they are killed, or they are left on the station, are left on the train tracks with broken legs and stuff, because these people don't have families, because they don't have people looking out for them, because they are seen as pests or vermin or trash or invisible, that the police in this society feels like they can do anything with them, and they must be able to get away with it, otherwise there would have been a stop put to it way before this. We get lots of Andy Mulligan describing the collection of the parcel or the package from the locker, and it's a really interesting read. If you go through, he really talks about he really uses lots of really short sentences. If we highlight this passage here, you can see the number of short sentences that the author uses. And these short sentences are designed to add a level of intensity and excitement. They build the tension and the energy in the story if you read them. So his use of short sentences to describe the action, I'll learn how to spell or type, Short sentences to describe the action. Yeah, that'll do. Put that down. All right. And then when we get out, we see that there's a bit of relief, and the boys sort of laugh. There's more examples of those short sentences up here, but we'll leave it as that. Where are those more short sentences? Here's more of those short sentences that I was referring to just a minute ago. Or if they're not completely short sentences, they're broken up by commas. So then suddenly Rat turned and had the key in the lock. We walked straight past him, comma there. So breaking it up, and nobody shouted, nobody even notices. So we get that indication that they're looking around and darting around. It's quite exciting. And then, yeah, we just hear about the content of the envelope or the package. It was a brown envelope sealed up with tape. It took me some time to open it. In it, there was on the envelope there was writing a thick pen. If found, please deliver to the prison. We've got to find someone called Gabrielle Alondres. So that's the next major character. The last thing that the boys found is this strange sort of set of numbers here, which appears to be some sort of code. But the boys are unaware of that yet. All right, that'll do it for this one, and we'll catch you on the next one.